We got a request, and if you have a request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com, and I'll answer your request for money. Okay, I've been mulling over requests. Try not to waste my time or yours. I am late 30s, white male. I took the Democrat line, hook, line, and sinker. I took a few courses for the liberal arts major back in college in 2000. After a year and a half, I quit, realizing my parents, teachers, and counselors were lying to me. My question is, given your age, because you're a millennial, did you tell everyone you were right? I kid, because that's your generation. Like, you know it, all right? More of a slam on your generation than you, sir. My buddy who dropped out at 14 and worked had a house by then. I've always had to either have a job or do the chores for my dad, who was constantly pushing me and my sisters. He was psychotic and even abusive, but looking back, his discipline and even belts were deserved. Okay, abusive, like he punched you? Because belt ain't abuse. Belt is still legal, right? He punched you. He hit you? And deserved, and I appreciate it now. Watching the rest of my generation flounder and fail with their limp wrists is truly great. They all said I was wrong and I was going to fail. That's it. I had the same thing happen to me too. And they're the ones that are failing. At 20, my mom married my stepdad, who runs a business. That's where I really learned how to bust my ass. I worked as a general laborer, taking jobs that taught me skills so I could one day build a house by my own hands. Now I could say I have the skills to do that. Roofing, carpentry, masonry, tilling, siding, farming, basically the whole. That's awesome, man. That's great. Minor electrical and plumbing experience. I charge from $50 to $100 an hour to weed people's gardens and plant flowers. I've begun to hate it, so I think I will just charge $100 to lower my client base. Look, it doesn't get any better than that. It doesn't. I agree that increase your hourly rate, but it really doesn't get better than that. I found a guy a couple of years ago through a client that needed a hand. He hired me at $25 an hour. In 2 weeks, he fired 3 of his employees that took me on full time. Gave me a raise. But you're still 70. I don't know what your pay is now. That's still down from $100 an hour you can bill yourself out at. It has been great, best boss, and he has taught me many skills, and it's like I'm not even working. It's fun. All right. All right. I'd be more focused on money. I decided I would learn electrician, like the electrical trade. I took a class this year, but it wasn't for me, so I dropped the class. One thing that motivated me to stop was my teacher said for every electrician, there are 100 apprentices trying to get an apprenticeship. 10 years ago, it was the opposite. If I was 20, I would have totally done that. I used to never sleep, so that would have worked. The biggest motivator was listening to you and Vlad talk about accounting as I drove to the class. All right, link below. We have the course, The World's Greatest Accounting Career, for those of you that are interested in accounting as a career. It teaches you how to efficiently and cheaply and in the least amount of time manage and navigate a path to an accounting career. It does not teach you accounting, but it teaches you how to avoid $100,000 for a master's degree, which is what Chad did. Realize, hey, that's a great idea. 2 years at H&R Block. Continue carpentry on the off season, eventually travel remote work. So, okay, so what the question is, I'd like to hear your answer, comment on this. Is H&R Block filled with corporate Karens? 2 years. So you're saying, okay, you don't work at H&R Block. You would like to do 2 years at H&R Block. Presumably to go get the experience that you could go test for your enrolled agent certification. I don't know. I've not worked at H&R Block. I'm sure they have an H&R Block has an HR department. No doubt about that. That's more for legal and compliance. And I'm sure they deal with some of their hiring and recruitment. But from what I think it's Parker, was it King Trist? Handful of guys have gone in and did this. They just went into the office, said, I'd like to work. Now, there's obviously a more formal online application. You could do that. You might even be able to get in this tax season. It might be a little late, but I think one of them went in like, hey, are you looking to hire? I do it now, though, man. I would definitely do it now because tax season is upon us. But the distinct impression I got is H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, whatever. All those companies, fine companies. We just use H&R Block because I own, I think, 50 shares in the firm. I'm practically the president and CEO. It sounds like they're just happy to have workers. And it's one of them old school deals where you can walk into the office and say, hey, are you looking to hire? So, does it have an HR department? Yeah, I guarantee you it does. Is there some kind of formalized application process? Yes. I've not heard in any of the stories from all the guys that went and worked at H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt, whatever, Liberty Tax. They don't let the Karens get in the way. They need people. So this might definitely go along with your firm handshake and show up on time type of deal. It could vary office to office, but that's one of the things that all the guys who worked at these accounting firms talked about positively is the lack of corporate bullshit. Now, is there in the entire H&R Block Corporation a Karen? Of course there is. Karens all over the place. There's herpes viruses somewhere at some point in time, and there's Karens just the same, although herpes is a lot better than a Karen. But I think that field, kind of like oil rig work, the Karen personality is told to shut the fuck up. We need accountants. So I wouldn't worry about that. I hate that I have to use Indeed to apply and then do the interview. Do you? I'd go to H&R Block directly. And I would, unless did you already go straight to the office to say, I'm interested in working here? What do I need to know? Most of my hiring has been a handshake. I'll start now, word of mouth. I truly hate corporate work. It kills my soul. Well, then you don't want to work at H&R Block. Buddy, you got to make your choice. Do you want to do corporate work? Or do you want to do blue-collar tradesman work? There's no wrong answer except for you doing what you don't want to do. I think you should go back making $100. You ain't going to make no $100 an hour at H&R Block. You're probably not going to make $100 an hour. Well, you probably would after a while being an EA for a certain bit of time. I'd go pull weeds or whatever it is you do for landscaping for $100 an hour. But if you hate corporate work, yeah, man, what do you think accounting is? I think what you should do, by gosh, I bet you they even have I bet you they got this online right now. What you should do is go get a workbook on the accounting cycle, like search accounting cycle workbook. Use my Amazon affiliate link, assholeconsulting.com/Amazon, but go find yourself a accounting cycle workbook, and then maybe even a tax workbook with like a 1040 form, and go through the workbook. And by the way, there might be something online that goes through it with you, right? There might be an online, I'm sure through Coursera, whatever there is. Why don't you take a free course online on taxes and bookkeeping and then see if you like it? Because if you don't like it, then there's no reason for you to continue going on and working in H&R Block. Yeah, when you work at H&R Block, you're doing literally what some would consider is the most boring work ever, and that's taxes. And it's white-collar corporate office work. Will I have to use the new Windows operating system? Probably, because every major corporation is switching to Windows 11. Will that have an effect? Probably not, because they already have pre-installed their own tax prep software. So I don't think whether it's a Windows 11 or a Mac or whatever, the operating system is going to be irrelevant. You don't have your personal information on there. So I would not worry too much about it, but you'll probably have to use new Windows system. Do you know if it's year-round work or is it really just for a few months a year? Yeah, it's seasonal. They get a lot of people up tax season, which more or less starts now and goes to April 15th. There's extension season, which is September, October. And then you're off. I'm sure they hold some people back to do general corporate stuff for some tidying up or cleanup work, but it is seasonal. Also, is it safe? Interestingly, was it Parker? No. Oh, fuck. Why can't I remember his name? Oh, shit. The Tennessee kid. Why can't I remember his name? I've known him for quite some time. He worked at I don't know if it was ghetto or just trash. Maybe it was a combination of both. You don't want to work in the shitty neighborhood next to the fucking pawn store and the cash checking place, right? Because the people coming in there are looking to get the child tax credit before their ex does. And then both will claim the same kid as a Ted. Then you got to find out a lot of them, surprise, don't have their paperwork. A lot of them lying. So if you have the choice between working in H&R Block in a, whatever, normal, regular neighborhood, suburb, rural, whatever, versus the trailer park or the ghetto, you want to go to where people like aren't playing the child support game or the child tax credit game. It wasn't dangerous, but he had a bum come in and just absolutely rank of feces and urine. It's no different than any, like, well, where do you want to eat dinner? Well, not when, you don't want to go where adult Democrats are because they're always shitting in the streets. So you want to go as any other place where adult Democrats don't stink up the neighborhood, right? They don't walk in smelling like feces, asking, got a cup in your hand or their hand. So, yeah, it's safe, but I would just forget even safety, just lack of headache. I wouldn't go work at the poorest H&R Block. Like, no, I'm not doing that. No. And if they, oh, we really need you here, and you're like, oh yeah, I see the crime rate over there is a little bit of, what are you going to pay me? No, you could level, like, look, you're going to pay me to babysit some people. You're going to pay me to deal with people that don't even like to come in with napkins for receipts. That's what you're going to be paying me to do. Money, lots of money. But yes, it's safe. I just heard on the radio that the largest demographic of people in witness protection these days are accountants. Well, yeah, because they work for the mob. That has nothing to them working for Jackson Hewitt in the strip mall. I'm quoting Brad Meltzer, author of The Viper, I heard on Conservative Talk Radio. Anyway, thanks a lot, man. Let me know how much. And also, I want to give you some money for a Cappy original. I'm really glad I found you. I thought I was crazy, but you have made me feel confident because I drive a shitbox I own, have no debt, am minimalist except for my tools, no wife, no kids, never married, 500 rent a room, wanderer in the woods, hiker. Nice. And you can build your own house if you haven't built it already. Yeah, man, before you go take a course online, go order those accounting cycle books, go watch at least a couple videos what it's like doing a 1040 tax return, and then see if you want to do that. That's what I would do. All right. Do we have any questions? Link below is a link to my accounting course on accounting careers, not doing accounting, the world's greatest accounting career. Available on teachable.com. Oh, look who's here, ladies and gentlemen. Look who finally showed up. Dre, $2. Discount code Vlad Elkins for 30% off on fees. Dre, again, $2. Why does you and Chad dislike H&R? We don't dislike H&R Block. I like H&R Block. I like them so much, I bought some shares in it. What are the price now? The PE was very low, H&R Block stock price. Good God. Yeah, I bought it like 52, then it went up to 62, and now, good Lord, what are you guys doing? What is this? It's down to 45. Good Lord. Now watch it turn. So is it cyclical? Does it always go up in the tax season? All right, August to no, that's not tax season. It went up there. All right. And then what is going on? What's your PE ratio? It's 10. You got a PE ratio of 10. What? All right. The king. $2 because H&R refused to let him power walk at the office. Dre, $2. Cappy recommends working at H&R Block in Minnesota. No, I don't recommend going to Minnesota anywhere for and not Minneapolis, nowhere. Do not go to Minnesota. There's no reason to go to where people are mentally ill. Plains Warrior, $2. I find all this talk. Oh, remember when you didn't make jokes, Plains? Remember when you just look at this nice veteran over here. He kind of stops in, says hello. No, he's got to be up there on the comedy stand with Dre. I find all this talk rather taxing. Was it worth the $2? Was it worth the $2, Plains? Bob, $5. They also push you to level up. When you get to level 3, you work on commission. You can make over 10K if you see 250 clients. Yep, I think I remember. I can't remember his name. Yes, based on everything we heard, obviously no job is without its drawbacks, but let's put it this way. Me and Chad both agree, though I never worked for the Big Four, but when you look at all the bullshit you got to go do just to go work for the Big Four, then all the bullshit you got to deal with working in the Big Four, like real big time accounting firms, Chad's like, oh yeah, I would have done H&R Block, get my enrolled agent or CPA and just done my taxes, but I would never gone to the Big Four. So it's better than the Big Four. It sounds like, dude, we just need to do people's taxes, and we cannot afford the fuck around and shitification corpo games. We can't. Potato sauce, 5 Australian. I've used H&R Block last 11 years, been great so far. Maybe due to less cousin shagers over here. Could be if you're not in Wyoming. Well, if you're in Australia, wait, is H&R Block over in Australia too? Interesting. All right, there you guys go. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.